Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to react to a couple of videos that show this whole movement of men who identify as women is really eye-opening because they're getting to the point now where they don't even care. They're not even trying to be feminine anymore, to present themselves in a feminine way. When it comes down to it, when they want to assert their masculinity, when they want to assert some aggression, or speak with their natural speaking voice, that's exactly what they will do. When they want to sport a beard, that's exactly what they will do.
In a way, I get why it would piss you off, because when you're sitting there putting on a full face of makeup every day so you don't get clocked, so you do pass, and then here's this other tranny yapping at 500,000 people being like, I don't care that I didn't shave today, I'd be like, what gives? My transition has been about setting myself free, not about finding another set of gender norms to adhere to. Passability is not going to save us.
They were, for the longest time, trying to convince us that they wanted to be like women and be accepted as women. But many of them are actually just practicing, in some cases, a fetish. They're practicing, living out a fantasy that they want to live out. But they don't really want to go around being feminine 24/7 because it's too much work for them, because that's not what they are. When they're confronting people who challenge them, they confront women who don't bow to their every demand. That's when their true colors are revealed. So what happened to Nancy Mace recently, some of the encounters she has had, demonstrates that perfectly. A video went viral of her being confronted in the supermarket.
All right, so it was probably the biggest viral video of the weekend. South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace posted this now infamous video online after a man who is allegedly one of her constituents confronted her while she was shopping. Take a look.
I do them every year. Every year? You want to keep going? Do you want to keep going and keep harassing me? You could have gone to a dozen town halls last year.
I asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah.
Are you doing this?
I've already done one. I'll do plenty more.
More this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well,
and by the way, I voted for gay marriage twice.
What does that have to do with
so
me?
I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
You think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do,
That's
absolutely.
your first stance when you speak with me?
Because you people on the left are crazy.
So
you're absolutely crazy.
I'm absolutely
crazy. And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're gonna me and you're gonna be voted out so fast this year.
I'm not. I won by so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question and you just go on this tirade and tell me you.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Try it. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Yeah, I sure did. Absolutely. Get the out of my face now.
Just a peaceful weekend afternoon going shopping, right? In a post on Facebook, the man in that video said in part that he won't apologize for speaking up or for publicly asking a politician to do her job.
And I think it's good to compare this video to the one we're going to see, because at the end of the day, when people get into a heated exchange, they usually are who they really are. They don't hold back. And I think it's hard for these men who identify as women to keep up the pretense, especially when they're having a discussion that they're very passionate about. When it comes down to it, the mask slips because they can't keep up the pretense, they can't keep up the facade. It's very hard to sustain an act day in, day out.
Well, he started up on me prior to this, and I fumbled. I tried to get my phone out as quick as I could, but I had a bag, and I tried to pull it out fast and start recording as much as I could. I've decided that I'm going to start recording these people in public. I probably don't have enough iPhone space on my phone, but I deal with this stuff day in and day out. This was the third incident I had last week alone. And the week before that, there was a man in Pennsylvania who was arrested from Butler, Pennsylvania, that threatened the president, President Trump. I was the only member of Congress. He threatened to put a bullet in my skull. Most of this stems from my position about protecting women and girls in private spaces. And inherently as a woman, when a man like this comes up to me and is aggressive in public or private, inherently I'm going to fight back. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to be a strong woman because I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Men like this, it's not okay. This kind of aggression is going to get someone hurt or worse. And it's not something I condone. I'll stand up and fight for every woman and girl everywhere.
When you simply say that women should have their own spaces, women should be protected in their own private spaces, and that these spaces should not be opened up to men, that's when you find that these people will confront you, these people will be violent. We've seen examples of that. And some of them can't handle hearing no. And at times they have responded with violence.
It seems like everything's getting really ratcheted up. The left's gone really off the deep end, and I'm very concerned about violence. Why don't you have security with you at all times?
Well, in this instance, I was on my personal time. I can't afford personal private security. I have to reassess my movements now and perhaps trying to hide the way that I look so I can go out in public. Tonight, though, at a public event, I was able to have 6 armed security guards. I needed to have that. And even still with 6 armed security guards, we had a man in a dress who picked up a potted plant. It looked like he was going to toss it at me or throw it at me until the police moved in. That's the kind of threats that conservatives are facing, like Elon Musk, like Donald Trump, every single day. And we have to stand up and fight back and fight for ourselves, stand up for our own freedom.
So without further ado, let's take a look at that video.
Does your husband call you babe? Okay, so even better. I don't do that. Okay, so I would like for you to apologize, but is derogatory, and second of all,
Is tranny derogatory to you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course the fuck I do.
Yeah. Tranny. If that's derogatory,
You
then
are
it's
racist.
good.
I'm sorry.
If that's derogatory, then it's
Wow. Wow. And I think this person knows exactly what he's doing, because it's like, okay, you're going to stand there and continue to say a term that I want you to apologize for using. You're going to stand there and not back down and continue to use that terminology that I find offensive. I'm going to let you know who I really am. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what this person did. Oh, yeah. Or whatever he said. Like, wow. The police officer happened to be there when this individual picked up the plant pot. If the police officer wasn't there, what would have happened? Why would your first instinct be to pick up a plant pot? Ordinarily, when you're talking to a man, okay, because I don't like to demonize men in general. When you're talking to a man and you're having a disagreement, they're very aware that they're bigger and, you know, more intimidating. They're usually aware of that. So they take that into consideration when they're talking to you, and they watch how they talk to you. A lot of it is because they don't want to be accused of, anything. Because society has egged on this insanity and told these men that they are women, that their identity and their word is so important that if they say they're a woman, they're a woman. And we have to accept them as women, even to the point where they can get undressed in our locker rooms, exposing themselves, and we can't say anything about it if we do, we're bigots. This is what has been pushed. So they don't feel a way about being violent towards women. They believe they can get away with that because they're the vulnerable ones. They're the ones who have been disenfranchised. They're the ones who have been, discriminated against. They feel entitled. And when they don't get their own way, they believe they're allowed to defend themselves. There are people who cheer on violence against these women. They cheer it on because in their mind, they're fighting for a noble cause, when the fact is violence is never justified. But people have let this slide for too long. Jennifer said, "Do you see how fast his mask slips? Notice the voice change. Men may not be aware that women know this moment very well. It's the second when the man changes into being threatening. We are all too aware of it because our lives depend on it. In case there is anyone left to realize, it is all just an act." Good morning to everyone except men in dresses holding potted plants. Literally every time I think about it, I burst out laughing all over again. Who you really are will always be revealed, no matter how much you try to fight against it. When it comes to these heated discussions, when it comes to a person being angry, when it comes to a person not being able to handle being told no, who they really are will always be revealed. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.